Welcome to the Equipped Disciple channel. My name is Rick McClatchy. I will be your host. We are here to be and to make disciples of Jesus, and we do that through daily Devos, through Sunday sermons, and through other discipleship resources. We are here to equip you to be an equipped disciple. All right, welcome into another day of your daily Devo. My name is Pastor Rick. This is the Equipped Disciple channel, and we are rocking and rolling into chapter 12 of John, Worship and Thievery. Are you enticed? Are you wondering what in the world are we going to be talking about today? Well, hope to answer that question here as we jump in. If you could just like and comment and subscribe, do all that good stuff, that'd be great. Love to see the channel still kind of grow and see these Devos get out to more people. And so here we go. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany where Lazarus was, the one Jesus had raised from the dead. So how many know when you have an encounter with Jesus, it can very possibly become the new identity that you carry around with you. Whatever it is, whatever impact Jesus has had on your life, it may very well be the very thing that you become known for. That certainly was the case for Lazarus. So they gave a dinner for him there. Martha was serving them, and Lazarus was one of those reclining at the table with him. And Mary took a pound of perfume, pure and expensive nard, anointed Jesus' feet, and wiped his feet with her hair. So the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. Then one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was about to betray him, by the way, said, "Why wasn't this perfume sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" However, he did not say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He was in charge of the money bag and would steal part of what was put in it. And Jesus answered, "Leave her alone. She has kept it for the day of my burial. For you always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." Then a large crowd of the Jews learned he was there, and they came not only because of Jesus, but also to see Lazarus, the one who he had raised from the dead. But the chief priests had decided to kill Lazarus also, because he was the reason many of the Jews were deserting them and believing in Jesus. So there's a big loss of power situation going on here. It's also just a healthy reminder that when you follow Jesus, you just might be pulled into the same types of penalties or negative pursuits that Jesus has going on because you're with him. So let's kind of recap a little bit what we have read about, and just talking about this Mary being at his feet, pouring out this expensive perfume ointment onto his feet, and then wiping his feet with her hair. In their culture, that would have been just completely off the table. Like, no way would a woman let her hair down and wash and, wipe somebody's feet with their hair. However, it's oft been assumed that she was a bit of a harlot, a prostitute before she came to Jesus, before Jesus tracked her down and transformed her life. And so for a non-married woman to be out in public with her hair showing was often the sign that you were partaking in certain activities in life that you were not supposed to be partaking in unless you were married. So her actually having her hair down in public and then using it to wipe his feet. Man, it's a powerful picture of, what I once used to kind of get lost in a sinful pattern of behavior. Now I'm going to use to bring honor and glory to your name. Now I'm going to use to make a significant statement about my love for you. I'm going to worship you with the parts of me that I used to use to sin, to go the wrong direction. And with that in mind, I just pulled this out. Worship should cost you something. It's very likely that this ointment that she had may have even been a payment that she received for her previous lifestyle choices, if you will. And so she's taking this container of ointment and perfume and pouring it out on Jesus' feet as an act of worship, recognizing that he's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, recognizing that he is the Messiah. And she wants to actually prophetically even prepare him for burial. So we're getting close now to that part of Jesus' life, where he goes to the cross, gives his life for us, and spends 3 days in the tomb, and then comes back to life, resurrected from the dead, to still be living today. Worship should cost you something. Even like David said in the Old Testament, I will not give to you that which costs me nothing. I refuse to bring something to the Lord that was free for me. So worship should cost you something. And the fragrance of worship can fill the whole room and impact other people. So this is why I think in church it's so critical, even when you're maybe having a bad day, even when you're feeling kind of funky or whatever, is to give all you've got in the time of worship at church, because the opportunity for that fragrance of your worship to fill the whole room and then begin to impact other people around you is something you don't want to miss out on. You don't want to skip over because you're maybe having a bad day. But also recognizing that worship is not just that which is done on Sundays in the church. Worship is, can happen in every facet of your life. And now remembering that, taking this into account in these different areas of your life where you can worship God in different ways. It's not just singing songs. It's not just prayer. It's not just like reading the Bible and those kinds of activities, but it's different out in the grocery store and at the gas station and all the different areas where you just you interact with people on a day-to-day basis. As you worship the Lord in your day-to-day activities, it begins to fill the area where you are and begins to have an impact on other people. So I want to just remember how our worship is not just about God, though that is obviously the primary purpose of our worship. Certainly is not about us, though I think we benefit from the process. But even more so, it impacts people around us. As we give God the honor and glory due his name, it impacts other people, strengthens other people. Worship exposes the heart in you and in others. As you worship the Lord, it's this great opportunity for the Lord to come in and speak to your heart and to reveal things that have gotten maybe a little off. But it also exposes the hearts of others. As you can see in these verses, the worship begins to stir something up in Judas. He's like, why wasn't this perfume sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor? And, he wasn't going to give it to the poor. He was hoping to skim off the top, like he had definite self-centered motivations there. And then I put this phrase on here: love your neighbor is more important than help the poor. And I know that can sound really kind of insensitive or egregious or just patently false, but hear me out just a minute. Obviously, the first commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and strength. And then the second one is like it. It's love your neighbor as yourself. So where I came up with this idea is, as you see, Jesus talking about that Lazarus was one of the reasons. Verse 8 here. For you always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me. Jesus is implying that the reasons that contribute to poverty, the reasons that put people into places of being poor, are so humanly driven that they will never, like this side of the return of Christ, it will never be fully cured because it is an outflow of human sinful nature. So he's saying you will always have the poor with you. And so when I go to this statement and I say love your neighbor is more important than help the poor, it's because loving your neighbor involves knowing them caring for them, ministering to them, specifically ministering to them. And that is more important than helping an unidentified mass of people that we like to call the poor. There's greater opportunity for impact into their lives when we are caring for people that we would consider to be our neighbors. God has put them in our sphere of influence one way or another, whether you legitimately live close to them or whether you're in the same school system and so you interact with each other regularly because of that. Love your neighbor. And that is far more important than trying to do this ethereal, generalized helping the poor. So I hope you understand my heart there, where I'm going. Obviously, I agree. We should help the poor. We should help provide systems and processes and stuff that help people come out of the life of poverty. Absolutely, we need to help the poor. But I think that our best helping the poor help comes when we choose to love our neighbor. All right. So with all of that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.